Welcome to the Fall Assembly. It's exciting to be here to work with you all again for another couple of years. And I'm very grateful for the trust that you put in all of us to serve you as best we can. I'm very happy that at the semi-annual assembly we get to have audience with our president, which is the main feature of today. I do have just a handful of procedural slides. I'd like to introduce the new roster of representatives to you so you know whom to go to if you have questions, concerns that you want to bring to the executive committee of what formerly known as Center-wide, now known as the Downstate Assembly of Faculty and Professional Staff, and then see where it goes from there. We have a roster of standing subcommittees that are charged to deal with particular areas of our professional life at Downstate, including education, facilities, our professional development, etc. And so please use us as a resource that we are. So this year, in addition to myself, Dr. Mark Stewart from the College of Medicine is a presiding officer-elect, so he'll be stepping into this role 2 years from now. I'm very grateful to be working with Ms. Mitten again as secretary. Great stewardship. And particularly a new role this year is for past presiding officer, and that's Dr. Noren, who led the DAFPS, Downstate Assembly for 2 years. So thank you. And this is a new role that was written into our bylaws to sort of hold on to talent, right? So this is to increase our brain trust, and we certainly need your brain, Dr. Noren. So thank you for your leadership, and thank you for your continuing to work with us. Our current senator representatives in the SUNY-wide University Faculty Senate, Vikram Pakbatan from SOAP, Dr. Hopner from Public Health, Dr. Viz, or officially known as Dr. Viswanathan, he is retiring. He was a senator, and if Dr. Desport is here, one of the brief things that we'll be soliciting you for is that we're launching a special election to fill his vacant senator seat. And a new addition, or coming back to governance, is Dr. Daniel Sosaze representing, well, all of us, but from the School of Public Health. We have alternate senators, Dr. Jumbo from SOAP. I forget for a lawyer what the word is, but I will say J.D. Nkoye, and Dr. Camacho Rivera, and Shoshana Oliveira, who are serving as senator alternates. So in case the senator can't physically make one of the SUNY plenary meetings, one of them can serve in their place. The executive committee is also composed of the presiding officers and the presiding officer-elects of all the schools and colleges. And so this is why it's a very important collective body, and it's really unique in that it's a forum in which representatives, elected representatives from all schools and colleges can come together, share their experiences, innovate, solve problems, and really, serve their constituents in helping make our campus that we're very dedicated to work best, and to support our leadership in doing so. A couple of other positions include, as I said, Brigitte Desport from the School of Health Professions is on the nominations committee. You will be seeing communications from, I guess, from her and us about the special elections for senator. I wanted to acknowledge Dr. Perkins from School of Graduate Studies in the College of Medicine, who's been instrumental in articulating the new bylaws and really thinking through. I view her as a parliamentarian because you know everything about procedure and how that informs how we have to build our bylaws. And Alethea Aline from School of Health Professions, she's also on the Senate Communications Committee. I should say some of our senators also serve on designated committees in the Faculty Senate that are looking at specific areas of interest, including Dr. Hopner on the health sciences sector, Vikram Pagan in communications, and Dr. Kamarajan in the College of Medicine, and Alethea Aline in communications. If any of you want to stand and be recognized, please do so. I also want to recognize the student representative, Toby Samorin, if you want to stand, if you're here. Yes, thank you. Thank you for being here. Right, next generation. And also to acknowledge members who have served in the past for their service. We don't have much to report because we want to leave most of the time to President Riley. Just one issue in particular that many of you are probably very attuned to already is the Title II mandate, the ADA mandate. And so Dr. Imparato and others are putting together or have put together a task force to try to address making sure that we're compliant with that mandate. But Senator Pagan also wanted me to mention that there are grant opportunities here as well. So please reach out to us if you're curious about that. And I also wanted to plug the 2025 annual report from the Faculty Senate because it is a document that tells you what the business has been and how that impacts our campus. And in particular, there was one very beautiful article that was written by same Representative Kamarajan from psychiatry, who wrote about Downstate campus and the plans for revitalizing it. Okay, and with that, I'm very honored to leave the floor to President Riley. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Dr. Roman. Thank you. Delighted to be here with you, my colleagues. Thank you so much. I always relish the opportunity to speak with all of you and say, number one, thank you. Thank you for what you've done to make this academic year of 2025-2026 go off very smoothly. We've had a nice enrollment across all of our degree programs in spite of sort of the churn in the world that we all deal with. So very delighted with the beginning of the academic year. I want to say most of the time, first of all, let me salute Dr. Noren, who I worked with very closely over 2 years, the prior chair. So thank you, Alan. And Alan came to escort me. I felt important. You were the welcome wagon. Thank you to escort me up here. That's right. It's in the job description. Thank you, Professor. You and I spent many phone conversations and meetings over the last 2 years as we were working on the Downstate Transformation Plan, quote unquote. Thank you very much for your leadership. Thank you. We did, Professor. And again, thanks to Chris. Chris, like Dr. Noren, is a citizen of the university, and he always, whenever you ask Chris Roman to do something, he steps forward without hesitation. So I know you all feel that way about his leadership. So thank you, Chris, for what you do. So I'll just give you some updates, and then we'll have some open dialogue. I guess number one, top of mind is the hospital update, where we are. And I want to acknowledge Dr. George was a member of the Community Advisory Board. Thank you, Dr. George, to deal with sort of the very heavy discussions over those, I guess, 6 months, right? 6 or 7 months that the Governor's Advisory Board was deliberating on what to do about our hospital situation. So we appreciate Dr. George's leadership. But once the Community Advisory Board turned their report over to the Governor, the Community Advisory Board sunsetted, and now we've entered a new phase where the SUNY Construction Fund and SUNY Central are now driving the process in terms of what is to, how to respond to the Governor's commitment of $1.1 billion to redo the hospital and also to create an ambulatory annex. So we are at the phase where architects and engineers and construction companies have toured earlier this fall the hospital. They've looked at the site of the proposed site of the ambulatory care center, which is the old garage. So they have submitted their bids to the SUNY Construction Fund, and those bids will be, I think, heard sometime after Christmas. So we expect by the end of Q1 to have the construction fund, that is the SUNY Construction Fund based in Albany, at SUNY Central, to pick the contractor, the architect, the engineer, and the designer for the hospital renovation. So we are kind of waiting for that process to get done because it's highly technical, and remember, any building built in a SUNY system pretty much has to be built by the SUNY Construction Fund. They always drive the process on construction, on projects that campuses don't do on their own. So this one is big. We could not do this one on our own for the obvious reason, so that's why the construction fund is pretty much driving. Dr. Winston, the interim CEO of the hospital, has been a party to some of those visits with the construction firms and the architecture firms and engineering firms. So that's the way she has kept me up to speed and briefed on what's going on there. So what we anticipate, again, the timing of this is all too slow. We've all had to endure, and it's not just us. I was with fellow presidents last week in Washington. We all complain it takes too long to build things in the SUNY system because of the state processes, which tend to be very lengthy, very laborious. You have to get Division of Budget approval. You have to get the Office of the State Controller approval. Those sometimes take months, sometimes a year. So we probably won't see any construction activity. Alicia, help me, you may have heard, Dr. Winston not here, but probably at the earliest, a year from now, at the earliest, and more likely to be early 2027, right? That's the last I heard. So it's not anything we're doing on campus, but it's just sort of the churn that has to happen above us at the construction fund, at the Division of Budget, at the governor's office, et cetera. The governor's office is very interested in what's going on. Debbie Lewis, the governor's executive secretary, called me a couple weeks ago and said, hey, just want to check in. I know things are moving. They're moving kind of slow, but we're going to monitor it in the governor's office. So the governor's office has put together soon will put together sort of an oversight group that will overlook the work of the construction fund to get this going, because obviously this project is very important to the governor, because this is probably one of her bigger projects, apart from the Buffalo Stadium for the Bills that she has approved with state money. So she's very keen to, get this going. So the governor and her people are taking a lot of interest in our hospital transformation. So let me stop there because I know sometimes there's questions about what's going on before I go to the other topics. Any questions on the hospital construction part? Yes, Dr. Helke.
I guess, how firm is the financial? I know,
Yes. Oh, that's a great one. Yeah.
Washington, does this depend on any federal infusions of money, which could obviously be in jeopardy?
So I'm going to answer it like an economist. It depends. So technically, since the money does not come from the state operating budget, it comes from the capital budget. That is, the state of New York does two budgets. One is the operating, and then there's the capital. So that's roads, bridges, schools, SUNY construction, our project. The capital budget is funded from bonds. The state of New York, some of you are probably bondholders in your retirement accounts. They just decides to sell a whole bunch of bonds, maybe $30, $40 billion worth of bonds. That money then comes, that cash money then goes into the capital part of the budget. So it's not subject, Professor, to the vagaries of the state operating budget, right, which is the good news. Now, where the vulnerability comes in, quite frankly, is if there's a change in the governorship. A new governor, next year at this time, if there were a new governor, could decide, wait a second, I want to relook at all those capital projects. But generally doesn't happen. Generally doesn't happen. So as certain as we can be on December 8th, 2025, I think we're good with the $1.1 billion. Subject to any major shift by a governor or the governor in his or her selection of what capital projects to continue. But at a certain point, the state will float the bonds, and then once the bonds are floated, the cash is in the bank, and so it can't be disturbed. So I would say, if I were a betting man, which I'm not, I'd say 98% we're good. It's pretty good odds, right? You'll take it, right? Okay, good. Other questions about the hospital? construction part at least. And you know, many of you will remember the project that I had advanced, almost 7 years ago, Project Phoenix, which was to build a ambulatory care center on some foundation property. The Community Advisory Board heard my proposal, and Dr. George, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but they kind of said, yeah, that's a good idea, but let's do it over here and maybe smaller scale, right? So I do have some pride of authorship, Dr. Lambert, in this, that I want to claim. I was teasing Dr. George a few months ago about this, that it's sort of a Project Phoenix light, right? No comment. He's saying no comment. But no, I'm very happy with where that ended up. All right, sticking with the hospital, the CEO search to replace Dr. Winston is well underway. We've had the first candidate on campus today as we speak. I met with the first candidate. We have a second candidate coming in Wednesday, right? Is Jamie here? I think, yeah, Wednesday and Friday. So by the end of the week, we'll have interviewed 3 finalists for the CEO of the hospital. And the process will be that I will then make a recommendation to the chancellor. The chancellor will interview that candidate, and Trustee Korngold, who is chair of the SUNY Board of Trustee Health and Hospitals Committee, will interview with the chancellor. And once I get their feedback, then I would be in a position to make an offer for the new CEO sometime after the beginning of the year, with an expectation that they would be here sometime before March. We'll just say, you know, we'll put a pin in it as March 1st. So that's gone very well. Many of you, I guess there's a few of you in the room who are members. Who's a member of the search committee? I don't know if anybody's here because they're kind of tied up with the first candidate. And I don't want to rattle off the names because I'll forget the names. But we have a very nice search committee that has been very, very active in interviewing for the position. So that's going very well. So I want to pledge that we'll get that wrapped up sometime after the beginning of the new year. Any question on the CEO search? Yes?
Are the 3 people that were selected New Yorkers?
2 are New Yorkers, 1 is a Californian. Yes. And it was a national search. And, you know, true to my philosophy about this, I appoint the search committee and get out of the way. So I've not had any involvement until today, literally, with the search process until I interviewed the first candidate today. Okay, anything else more on the CEO search? Okay, let's pivot to the federal issues. I was in Washington all last week. It was pretty depressing. And then the month before, I was at the National Academy of Medicine meeting. I'm a member of the National Academy of Medicine. It was the most depressing National Academy of Medicine meeting I've been to since I was elected. Widespread concern about the assault on science, on truth, on reason, on the CDC, the FDA, vaccines, scientific work, DEI. It was a very painful National Academy of Medicine meeting. A lot of us were very dysthymic about the state of science and higher education. No easy solution, obviously, other than to try to engage with the Trump administration, which can be difficult at times. Just about 3 weeks ago, well, I guess about a month now, I get a letter on Friday afternoon from the U.S. Department of Education Office of Civil Rights saying, "Dear Dr. Riley, it has come to our attention that you, as in Downstate, are in violation of federal law because you have 10 scholarships for women listed on your website." I almost popped a cork. And this is the tenor of the time we're dealing with this Trump administration. And they're unendorsed by any court as of yet interpretation of the Civil Rights Act in terms of going after DEI programs, scholarships for women, scholarships for various groups underrepresented in medicine. So it's very frustrating. So needless to say, the saving grace is we live and work in the great state of New York, where we have a governor, attorney general, a legislature who basically have told us do not engage in any anticipatory premature compliance with, again, unsanctioned by a court interpretations of civil rights law. So that's the position I've taken. We've not changed anything. Carla has not changed her title. We have not stopped any diversity initiatives, as far as I know. We still are doing LGBTQ care. So we're going to continue up until I get a call from the chancellor or get directed by the attorney general to cease and desist. So we are not stopping anything. And so I just promptly sent that letter down to Will, our general counsel, and asked him to handle it. But this is the tenor of the times, colleagues, that we're dealing with. You talk to your colleagues at other universities around the country. We're just incredulous, some of the stuff that we're having to endure. So this, I spent a lot of time on this. Like I said, I was in Washington. Alicia and I were in Washington last week, SUNY Advocacy Day. So we were there. And again, I was there the week of the month before for the National Academy of Medicine. So all I can tell you is that we know how difficult the climate is. But the good news is, at least for us, is that we live in an enlightened state where the governor, the chancellor, SUNY board have all locked arms and say that we are not to abandon our principles as a SUNY system, which from its creation in 1948, it's in the charter, says that we are to educate all New Yorkers. And this was 1948 when the SUNY system was formed. So we're going to continue to lean on that as part of the guiding principles, but it's different every day. So any question about the federal issues? I know a few of you who have lost grants. Where's Anika? Anika, you lost a grant. Yeah, you told me, right? No. Yeah, you did get the money back. So we had some good news. Dr. Christini, Dr. Lambert I was very pleased to hear from them that we got our research endowment grant, because I thought there was no way in hell they were going to continue to fund that, but we did, right? We got the money in, Marcus, right? Remember, that's a grant we competed against at NIH. They give us 10 million or 20 million? How much? 20. 10 million. So we take the 10 million, put it into an endowment, and then use the investment proceeds to hire faculty, diverse faculty, et cetera, and to continue our historic and mission-critical work of diversity, science, work on health disparities research. So I just never thought that they would send us the 10 million. So like I said, as soon as we got the 10 million, I had it invested in the foundation. They can't get it back from us, which is good. So we acted quickly. So I want to salute Dr. Lambert on making sure that got handled. But any question about the federal scene? What you can do individually is that we're all members of organizations, right? APHA, your specialty, your scientific societies, all of them have weighed in on this. The medical specialty societies, my former organization, American College of Physicians, which I led about 10 years back, we've all weighed in on this to oppose the nihilistic practices coming out of Department of Health and Human Services, FDA, CDC, the Department of Education, et cetera, et cetera. So this eats up a lot of my time because it's important. So as developments indicate, I will keep everybody informed. Now let's flip to the state budget. The state budget is good news this year. The governor has shared with all the SUNY campuses that the budget that will begin to be debated January 1 after the holidays, and which must be enacted by New York State law by April 1st, she thinks will be fine without any major cuts. We were bracing ourselves for cuts to the SUNY system, and I think the SUNY-wide faculty senate got briefed on this too in Albany, right? The chancellor briefed you guys on the state budget issues, Chris? Yeah, maybe, where's Edeline? Yeah, were you at the big meeting with all the other faculty senates? No? But yeah, I think they did brief, the chancellor did brief everybody that the good news is New York State is doing very well from a tax collection point of view because the stock market is going gangbusters. So there's going to be lots of tax revenue. A lot of the very wealthy people are doing well. They pay more taxes. So she's projecting that she will not have to make big cuts in the next state budget, including anticipating no cuts to the SUNY budget, which is good news. And in fact, the chancellor said that he will ask for a little more in the SUNY budget than we got this year. So that's good news, because before we collect $1 of tuition, we get about $55 million, what I refer to as our state-based budget. And I was working with Rich Miller to come up with scenarios. If we got cut by $5 million or $10 million, what would that mean to the campus? It would have been very hard. But the good news is that we will not have to make any major cuts as of today, per what the governor's indicated to the Division of Budget and to all of us, which is good news. Now, next year at this time, it's going to be a totally different story. And this is what the governor's worried about. This is what the chancellor's worried about. Next year, so in December of 2026, the state will likely be looking at a budget gap of $20 to $30 billion because of the loss in federal money over this next year. That is the budget the governor's worried about. So she can't tell us exactly where the deficits, how much the budget gap's going to be, but most prognostications are that it's going to be in the 15, 20 to $30 billion range next year at this time. That, in other words, she will be preparing, or the governor, I'm assuming, well, yes, it'll probably be a she because there's two women running for governor, that she will be looking at a somewhere between 15 and $30 billion budget gap. That's the budget to be discussed next year that we should all be worried about, because that's when all the tax cuts hit, the Medicaid cuts get implemented, and it's after the governor's election, so it'll be talked about during the governor's race. So that's the one to worry about. Not so much this year, but once we get past this new state fiscal year, which again begins April 1 through March 30th, we're fine for this one, but the next one is where the pain could really be ratcheted up. So I want to be transparent about that. Any question about the state budget? Okay, I guess the last thing is in terms of other projects, capital projects here on campus. We are about to open up the final phase of the Commons, which is the name for our new cafeteria. The servery part, we're going to have a ribbon cutting, what is it, when is it? The 5th, no, is Monday, next Monday, yeah. Next Monday we'll have a sort of an open house so people can walk through. It won't be operational, but you'll be able to see it. It'll become operational, I think, the 18th or 19th. But colleagues, this is something I've dreamed about from the day I got here, to give you a better space to eat, to sit down, to discuss, to relax, better food options. It's just going to be amazing. The thing that blew me away when you see it, there's a pizza oven there. Like when you go into the East Village, Professor Bianchi, you have your pizza and vino, I can't serve you vino, but I can serve you a pizza from a pizza oven. Is that okay with you? That just blew me away. So when I saw the pizza oven, when they gave me a quick little tour. But this will be such a morale booster to the community. And I think even the first phases have been great. Every time I walk over there, it's packed. People are, engaged. They're eating lunch. They're studying. They're meeting. Just a wonderful, venue. And this is what I wanted for our community, because you deserve it. We've deserved it for a long time. So very, very happy about the Commons finally being final. The next big project we will kick off is a total gut renovation of the library. So the library is kind of long in its tooth. I know I think it was 1984-ish, 85-ish, when the Health Science Education Building was built, and the library moved from up here. Remember, the library used to be over here. Then it moved into the new Health Science Education Building. So this is a huge project. It'll be probably take 3 years to do. So we're working with architects and engineers to figure out how to move things around the campus while we do the construction. The whole first floor lobby at 395 is going to be redone to make it much nicer. And the more lighting, more glass, it's just a wonderful project. So At some point, maybe in the spring, I'll show you the pretty pictures. I didn't want to do it today because we had so much to talk about. But in the next one, I'll show you all the renderings, and I've given approval on the colors and the carpet and everything. So it's really going to be another great, project for the community. So more meeting room, more student amenity space, more space for faculty to congregate. Again, just something that I want very badly for this campus as well. So I'm very glad that we're at that point to get that project going. So, Professor Rummel, I'll take more questions now. That was on my list to cover, but I'm open to answering any question about any topic. Anything online? Any feedback, criticisms, concerns, rumors? Particularly like rumors. Gabe? Oh, the Student Center. Thank you for raising that. Yes, the Student Center is another long-delayed project. The issue with the Student Center was once the discussions began about the hospital, I didn't necessarily agree with this, Gabe, but this was a decision made above me, that they would table the movement on the University Center to the hospital future was decided. So the hospital future is now decided, so now we've re-engaged with the construction fund to pull that sort of tabled project for the University Center back into active discussion, which we've done. Again, we have to work with the construction fund. The issue now is they are debating where to put it. Because when I initially presented this to the governor and the chancellor, we were going to put the University Center where the garage is. But now that the Community Advisory Board has recommended to the governor that the garage footprint be used for the ambulatory care center, we have to find another place for the University Center. So now that challenge is, do we tear down the current student center to build the new University Center, or do we tear down one or both of the towers of the dorms to make room for the University Center? So you can see this is very complex because it has to be done on state land, right? That's one of the stipulations. I can't use foundation land for this. So because we're kind of landlocked and the hospital project has taken up the biggest, sort of nicest piece that the state owns, that's the challenge now. So they're doing a feasibility analysis, comparing and contrasting. Would it be cheaper to take down the student center or leave the student center up and take down one or both of the dormitories to build the new University Center? And so until they finish that work, we just don't know. But the good news is we have the money, and we probably will have some additional money put on top of that. We have about $83 million for that. But it's now gotten caught up in sort of the analysis. Yep, Anika. Well, that's what they're studying, because right now, the dormitories only house 12% of our student population. So they're saying, well, does it make sense to build dormitories? And by the way, Toby will tell you, we don't like dormitories anymore. You guys want apartments, right? See, that's the issue. The philosophy has shifted in terms of student, quote, housing. They don't want dormitory-style living anymore. They want apartments. Apartments are a little more expensive to build. My argument is we have enough market rate apartments around us now where that wasn't true 10 years ago. So we think that we can do without building a dormitory replacement or apartments in lieu of nicer university space. Now, the University Center would include a fitness center, sports activities, but conference rooms. Remember, we're always short on conference rooms and meeting space here. So it served not only the students, but the entire university. So that's the kind of debate and discussion we're having with the construction fund. And the fact that, again, we're only housing 12% of our student population is 2,200 students. I think we have maybe 300 students in the two towers. My feeling is that we could easily, not rebuild those and provide better amenity space, and our students would find alternate spaces. So let me turn it over to your student member. Toby, you want to weigh in on this? A little bit louder, yeah. I'll bring it to you.
Yeah, I mean, there aren't a ton of students that live in the dorms, just from, I think the pricing as well as just the quality. They could probably find something a little bit better for a similar price or more. So I think if there was a way to maybe subsidize an apartment space, that like right across on Clarkson, they're building that new apartment complex. If there was a way to maybe like guarantee some students could have access to that, for example, that might be a good option. But personally, I do think that there obviously are students that are living in the dorms that are having a great time. But I think if we could offer some of the new students a better apartment space, that would be more ideal.
We would try to figure out. And look, we wouldn't evict students right away. We'd give students a year notice that effective blank blank, the student no longer will there be occupancy. The dormitories have no air conditioning. Think about that. They were built in 1963, so there's no air conditioning, so it's not really, and they're the old military-style barracks, right? Is that right? Nobody wants a roommate anymore, right? So, yeah, right. So yes, I do think it's time has come maybe to use that land for something else, for a nice university center. So good question. Yes?
This is not related to capital projects, but do you have any updates on where we are with Title II
Title
compliance?
II, yes. I'm glad you brought that up. We are establishing a task force composed of faculty and representatives from the faculty and staff assembly to look at how we can address the Title II issue, which is the accessibility issue. And I think you've talked to many of your other friends at other campuses. SUNY's been a little slow to get on the road to addressing this as a system. But here on campus, I decided to make sure we get everybody's input. So we're going to put together a true task force with representatives from faculty, staff, assembly, and each of the colleges and schools to come up with how we should address this accessibility. A lot of it is technical in terms of the website, the teaching modalities, the pedagogy, so that's why it's not something that can be imposed from my office downward. It really has to come up from everybody else, because you as faculty and staff know the issues and how compliance with Title II will either change the way you teach or change your methodology of teaching, and that's not for me to decide. That should be, in the spirit of good governance, it should bubble up that way, and I'm committed to that. So yes, I think right after the holidays, we'll, if not before, maybe after, maybe before we'll announce the task force, and then they'll start working after the holidays. But yes, I'm fully committed to getting the task force up and running to get this moving, because it is something we have to comply with. And I think the deadline is April, which I know a lot of SUNY campuses are going to struggle with. But we're going to get going. So thank you for that. Other questions? Yes, Toby. Yes.
So I serve as president of University Council, which kind of oversees the different school councils at Downstate: medicine, nursing, public health. Are there any sentiments you'd just like to relay to the students that could kind of like pass forth to the council presidents, or just any of the upcoming change, or any things that you think would be just useful for students to hear?
Yeah, just about anything I've covered, I think you guys talk about, even the craziness, quote unquote, in Washington. You guys are adults. You understand the high stakes. The one that's really infuriating is the limits on student federal loans. I didn't even talk about that. And the exclusion of nursing as a professional degree in order to qualify for graduate and professional loans. I'm sorry, and public health. That is ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. And so a lot of us are fighting it. All the associations are fighting it. That's not going to be good for access to public health careers and degrees, DRPHs, DNP. So that has me very concerned from a student, even on the medical student side. The average indebtedness of our students, last time I looked was, where's Jeffrey? Jeffrey, what is it, 225? 300, so it's crept up. And the limit on student loans under the new proposed rules to take effect July 1 is $250 for medical students or $200? Lifetime for all, from undergraduate onward? $250. Yeah, something like that. Yeah, 200 change, yeah. So we're worried about that in terms of access to medical education, graduate education. So I'm very concerned about that. Here again, that was a topic in Washington last week too. All the SUNY fellow presidents and I were bemoaning this, and we were raising this issue with members of Congress. We heard from Senator Schumer, Senator Gillibrand. I met one-on-one with Representative Clark, with Alicia, with a small group. We raised that issue. The student loan limits can be very damaging to workforce in New York State. So that's one issue that we're on. But you're free to share any of what I just said, and we'll look forward to meeting with you and your colleagues after the new year.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Any other questions? Let me acknowledge that Dr. Desport is the acting dean of the School of Health Professions. Dr. Desport, thank you so much. Thank you for, Dean Lewis is out on medical leave, so we really appreciate Dr. Desport stepping forward to serve School of Health Professions. All right, anything else? I know you may have some other business to take care of, and we have a tree lighting coming up. Let me stop, and I have a terrific group of deans who I'm privileged to work with. Let me stop and see if my deans have anything to add. Dean Demise, anything? No? Dean Christini? Bruno Cardi? No? Acting Dean Desport? No? Let's see who I'm missing. Who's my other dean I'm missing? Oh, nursing. Who's the highest ranking nursing dean here? I know Lori's not here. Yes, yes. Anything to share? No? Okay. Except for that craziness out of Washington. Yeah, I know, yeah. Okay, great. Thank you. Yes, Dean Berticardi.
I'd just like to acknowledge Dr. Pat Winston and what an outstanding job she's doing with the hospital.
Yes.
It's, you know, we prove the university is dependent on the hospital, and she's just doing an outstanding job.
She's doing an excellent job. I was just with Pat before coming over here, before Dr. Norn came to get me. She's doing a great job. Hey, look, and we got B grade on Leapfrog. First time we've ever gotten that high. And Leapfrog is very rigorous. It's no hocus pocus. You just don't write up something and say we deserve to be a B. We have to submit data on our hospital infection rate. I know Dr. Augenbrand's been involved in that in terms of hospital infections, working on that. Falls, it's really rigorous objective data we had to submit in order to get that B grade. So I'm very proud of all of you who are clinicians who work in the hospital, because quite frankly, you remember we got an F grade when I first got here, and I said, unacceptable. We are not an F hospital. This community doesn't deserve an F hospital, and none of us do. And so our team has gone to work to address that. So very pleased about that. So we're continuing to make quality improvements in the hospital that are determined not just by me or Dr. Winston, by external bodies who look at what we're doing and say, you guys have chinned the high bar to get to a B. So very happy about that. Yes, Dr. Desport.
Not that I want to end on a somber note, but I just wanted to bring back the conversation about the federal loans and occupational
Yes.
therapy.
Oh, OT is
physical
part of it
therapy.
too. Yes.
OT and PT.
PT and OT.
So I just wanted to.
Unbelievable. I'm
piece.
glad you reminded me. Yes. Craziness out of Washington. How can I describe it? It's just painful. Every day, every week, you get painfulness out of this administration. But you know, I know all the major organizations are submitting comments, talking to members of Congress. Look at this. Members of Congress should pay attention to this. I guarantee you, Dr. Desport, they have children who are studying PT and OT and who are in nursing school and have spouses or partners who are in some of these degree programs, public health careers. they have to be getting an earful at the dinner table, at church, at Rotary Club, you know, in fitness class, Pilates class, whatever they're doing. These members of Congress have to be getting hammered on this because it affects even their own families, friends, and neighbors. And I just don't understand the thinking behind this. I have sinister suspicions as why they're doing this, as many of you, but it just defies all logic. All right, Dr. Roman, I'll turn it back to you. Thanks for your leadership.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Appreciate you, Doctor.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. So we have a special election going on, and that's because University Faculty Senator Dr. Viz, everybody just calls him Dr. Viz, he's retired, and so the person who assumes this role is going to be who's going to complete the 3 years that are left, that he's left vacant. So the Nominations Ballot and Elections Committee on Nominations, these are the members. So Dr. Kuby, Dr. Roberts from Nursing, Dr. Rosenbaum, and then Dr. Velsek. Okay, so these are just the terms of office that when the senator assumes the role, it's 3 years, but again, this person will have a slightly less than 3 years that they'll be in office, and then after that, they can actually run for re-election. So the next steps are, today I'm presenting the list of nominees, and we've had quite a significant amount of folks who were nominated. There were 12 nominees this year. However, 5 of them accepted, and 4 declined, and 3 did not reply. So as a result, from the time that the 5 had accepted, 2 have actually rescinded their acceptance to run for the election. So now we have 3 nominees. And the Nominations Committee, in consultation with the Downstate Assembly Faculty and Professional Staff Executive Committee, we will prepare and administer the ballot using Vote Now, which is typically what we've done over the years. Then the special election will occur during a 2-week period, so folks will have 2 weeks to vote. Please vote. It's important that you do. And that will be this month, because we have to get that person in their position by January 15th for the plenary meeting that will occur then. So following the special election, the Nominations Committee will verify the results, and then the results will be distributed to the Downstate Faculty and Professional Staff Assembly. And the officers, again, as I said earlier, will resume their role, or assume their role, on January 15th of 2026. Isn't that something? We're actually talking about 2026. Oh my gosh, time flew. Okay. So in alphabetical order, the candidates are Dr. Michelle Adams, Staff Senior Assistant, Clinical Case Manager, Dr. Chela Kamarajan, Assistant Professor, Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences, and lastly, Dr. Sivan Kenrich, Assistant Professor, also in the Department of Psychiatry and Behavioral Sciences. So these are our 3 nominees. So thank you, and again, remember to vote. You will receive a university-wide email. Thank you.
We're actually making very good time. So is there any old business that we should be tending to? Is there any new business from the floor? You know where we live. You can always bring new business to us. Use us for what we're here for, please. And please just underscore what Member Desport was saying. Please vote when you get the ballots. And we're very grateful to the people who are throwing their hats in the ring, because it is a major responsibility to represent our campus on a SUNY-wide forum. There have been years where Downstate has not had a voice, and probably some of the years most important when we should be screaming to people to hear what we have to say and why our campus matters. We're very unique in the SUNY system. We don't have an undergraduate campus. You know, I think the SUNY schools, there's us in New York City, there's the SUNY Maritime, and there's the Fashion Institute. So that's the SUNY footprint in New York City. An optometry, thank you, thank you, thank you. No, you have to, no, please, my bad. Yeah, so, I mean, we're very, you know, we need to represent who we are because we don't look like a lot of other campuses. We're not structured the same way. Our constituencies are unique, vast, millions of people in Brooklyn. So, again, I can't, you know, overstate how important it is to have representation, particularly by our senators at the Faculty Senate. All right, with that, any motion to adjourn? All right, second, yes? Okay. Thank you, everyone, for coming, and have a great holiday. Invite you to the Christmas, or I think it's Christmas, yes, tree lighting.